So, I recently broke up with my boyfriend, Jason. We'd been together for almost 2 years, but things had gotten stale. In the past year, I had grown my online business and was making close to 6 figures. Jason, on the other end, didn't want to change or improve himself at all. He was perfectly content with his dead-end job as a pizza delivery guy. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that job, but it was the lack of ambition that got to me. He was just coasting through life, and I realized I wanted someone who matched my drive. So, I ended things with him about 2 weeks ago. He did not take it too well, and cried on the phone to me for hours before I had to finally just let him go. Well, 2 nights ago, I went over to my friend Emma's place to hang out. We were binge watching some stupid reality show and just catching up in life. Around 8 p.m., we decided to order pizza because, well, who doesn't love pizza, right? Emma said she would order some, and that was that. About 30 minutes later, there was a knock on the door. Emma got up to grab the pizza, and I hear her talking to someone. When she comes back, she's holding the pizza and gives me this weird look. I think you need to see who's at the door, she says. I get up, and when I look out the front door, there's Jason standing there. He had this really forced, creepy smile on his face, and I noticed a huge bandage wrapped around his forearm. His whole vibe was different since the last time he was crying to me on the phone. He waved at me and said, "Hey, Lacey." He said it in a way that was too casual for someone who just got dumped 2 weeks ago. He looked at me and said, "I didn't know you were gonna be here." "Yeah, well, I didn't know you were gonna be delivering our pizza," I said, trying to keep my cool with him. "What happened to your arm?" I had to ask because he did not have that bandage on the last time I saw him. "Oh," he said, glancing down at his arm. He chuckled and said, "Just a little accident at work. Nothing to worry about." I felt uneasy about the way he answered and how he was looking at me. I made it very clear that we were hungry and had to get back inside. I thanked him for the pizza and closed the door. Emma could tell that I was a little rattled by seeing my ex, but I shrugged it off. We sat back down in our living room and started eating. After I was starting to eat my second slice, my phone buzzed. I looked at it, and it was a text from Jason. The text said, "Enjoy the pizza, babe. Now I'm always a part of you." Confused by this, I showed the message to Emma. She also didn't know what he meant by "a part of you" either. Not wanting to really engage with him, but also wanting to understand what he said, I texted back, "What do you mean?" I will forever be traumatized by what he sent back. First, he sent a photo of his arm without the bandage on. It was graphic. It almost looked as if someone took a cheese grater to it. Loose flesh was hanging like pasta threads. Certain parts even looked infected. It was so disgusting. And then he sent a follow-up text. All it said was, "How's the cheese on your pizza?" Thinking there was no way in hell this could be real, I took a closer look at the pizza. I moved around some of the peppers and mushrooms and saw it. I didn't notice it at first because why would I be thoroughly studying what my pizza looks like? But blended in with the cheese and other ingredients were shreds and shreds of human skin. Emma, when she saw this, actually threw up. She immediately called the pizza place and spoke to the manager about what Jason had done to us. The manager on the end sounded mortified and told Emma he would handle it. But not even 15 minutes later, there was another knock at the door. Emma and I froze. I looked through the peephole, and there was Jason again. But this time, he wasn't smiling, and he was holding a gun. He was yelling at us saying, "You dumb bitches got me fired. I hope you liked your pizza." He was screaming and pounding on the door. I panicked and grabbed Emma, pulling her into the bedroom. I locked the door and whispered for her to call 911. We could hear Jason banging on the door and continuing to yell, "You're not going to get away from me, Lacey. We're supposed to be together." And I could hear Emma trying to explain the situation to the dispatcher while I stood by the door, my heart racing. The banging stopped suddenly, and that terrified me even more. Was he trying to get in some other way? What if he shot through the door? We waited in silence, trying not to make a sound. Then we heard sirens. And a few minutes later, we heard police ordering Jason to get on the ground. When the police finally got him, they came to check on us. Jason was arrested and had an unregistered weapon and drugs in his car. And I don't even want to think about what could have happened if they hadn't got there in time. I've recently made plans to move far away from this town. I want nothing to do with it, and will have to deal with all this trauma for the rest of my life. And I'm still in shock. I can't believe Jason would have done something on such an insane and disturbing level. He's locked up for who knows how long, but God willing, I'll be long gone from this town by the time he gets out. I want to start off by saying, I've always been a pretty skeptical guy. I was never one to buy into ghost stories or anything like that. I've always considered myself to be grounded in reality. Well, I live alone, which is fine by me. I like my space. The other night, something happened that I simply can't explain, and I need to share it with you. It was a regular Tuesday night. I got home late from work, exhausted, and decided to treat myself to some pizza. I ordered from this place down the road that I've used a million times before. Same order too. Large pepperoni, extra cheese. The usual. And they always deliver within 30 minutes, which is great. After about 25 minutes, I heard a knock at my door. That's when things started to get weird. I have a Ring camera installed, mostly for peace of mind as I live alone. I wasn't expecting anything out of the ordinary, so I checked it from my phone before getting up. Sure enough, the camera showed a guy in a pizza uniform standing on my front porch, holding a pizza box. But something was off. The screen started to glitch, freezing up, and then the image got all scrambled. I couldn't make out his face anymore. It was just a blur. I thought it was just a bad connection, maybe some interference or something. Annoyed, I got up to answer the door. When I opened it, no one was there. I looked around, confused. The porch was empty. The street was quiet. I even walked out a few steps to see if the guy had just turned around or something. But there was nothing. No car, no bike, nothing. Then I noticed something at the edge of my yard, near the streetlight that barely works. There was a shadow, but it wasn't just a shadow. It was a figure, tall and hunched, standing in the dim light. My first thought was that it was the pizza guy messing with me. But as I squinted, I realized this thing was way too tall to be a person. And it didn't look human. It was an olive green, scaly-like creature, almost like something out of a nightmare. It had these big, glowing eyes, and it was staring right at me. And the worst part, it was smiling, this wide, unnatural grin. And I truly couldn't move, couldn't breathe. My instincts kicked in, and I bolted back inside, slamming the door shut behind me. My hands were shaking as I locked the door. I grabbed my phone and called the pizza place, trying to stay calm. They picked up on the first ring, and I said, "Hey, I just wanted to check on my order. Did your delivery guy just come by? There was someone at my door, but no one's here now." The guy on the other end sounded confused. He put me on hold for a second, then came back and apologized. "I'm really sorry about the delay, sir. Our delivery guy hasn't left yet. He's just getting ready to head out now. You should have your pizza in about 10 minutes. I didn't know what to say. My mind was racing. If their guy hadn't left yet, then who or what was at my door? And what the hell was that thing in my yard? I didn't know what to do. I just sat there in my living room, staring at the door, waiting for something to happen. A few minutes later, there was a knock at my door. I froze, but I knew I had to check it. I pulled up the Ring camera feed again. This time, it was clear. The actual pizza guy was there, looking as normal as could be. No glitches, no weirdness. I opened the door, and he handed me the pizza with a polite smile. none the wiser to what had just happened. I didn't mention anything to him. What could I have said? I paid him, took the pizza, and locked the door behind me. I've been having trouble sleeping lately. I keep replaying the whole thing in my head, trying to make sense of it, but I can't. Again, I'm not the kind of person who believes in the supernatural, but what I saw, I can't explain. I just know that whatever was out there, it wasn't human, and it wasn't supposed to be there. I don't know if I'll ever order pizza again. Last night was one of the scariest nights of my life. I live in a small neighborhood with my 2 kids, both 5 years old. I'm a single mom, so things are always a bit hectic, but we manage. Yesterday evening, after a long day at work, I decided to order some pizza for dinner. It was supposed to be a simple, easy night. I called our usual place, Mario's Pizza, down the road, and everything seemed normal until the delivery guy showed up. The doorbell rang, and I opened it to see an older man standing there, holding our pizza. He looked like he was in his late 60s, gray hair, glasses, the kind of guy you would imagine as someone's sweet grandpa. But from the moment he saw my kids, something felt off. He smiled too much, showing too many teeth, and leaned down a bit, peering into my house. "Oh, aren't they adorable?" he said. "How old are they?" 5, I said, taking the pizza from him and trying to keep things short. "Twins?" he asked, still staring at them. "Yep," I said, keeping my tone light but ready to close the door. He was creeping me out. "Do they go to school around here?" His eyes didn't leave my kids, and I noticed my son shift uncomfortably. Yeah, I replied, moving to close the door, but he did not take the hint. He leaned in closer and said, "Do you leave them home alone?" That was it. My stomach dropped, and I felt a rush of adrenaline. I grabbed the pizza box, practically yanked it from his hands, and slammed the door shut. My heart was racing as I locked the door and double-checked the windows. I wanted to think that he was just a lonely old man, but something did not sit right with me when he asked if my children stayed home alone. I grabbed my phone and called Mario's Pizza to complain. The manager sounded understandably concerned and apologized, promising to look into the situation. I felt a little bit better after the call, but as I walked back into the living room, I caught a glimpse of headlights passing by the front window. My stomach tightened when I realized it was the same car the delivery guy had been driving. I pulled back the curtain just enough to see without being seen. His car was slowly driving down the street, and he was staring directly at my house. He passed, then circled around the block and drove by again. This happened 3 times before I grabbed my phone and called the police. The operator stayed on the line with me until an officer arrived. When they pulled him over, I watched from the window. It took about 10 minutes before they put him in handcuffs and started searching his car. I did not know what was happening, but I felt a little safer knowing that the police were there now. Later that night, an officer came to my door to explain what they found. The old man had a stash of adult magazines in his car, along with 10 unregistered guns. I felt sick to my stomach. What if I hadn't called them? What if I'd let him get away with just being creepy? I'm still disturbed by this. My kids didn't really understand what was going on, but they could tell that I was upset. I'm so grateful I followed my gut and called the police when I did. I never expected something like this to happen in our quiet little neighborhood. And it just goes to show, you can never be too careful. Be safe out there, everyone. Trust your instincts, and do not hesitate to get help if something feels off.